Alright, you guys, welcome back to another match play today. Today we are going to be taking a look at a round 3 game versus Incineroar, or Incineroar versus Mega Manectric. These are the final 4 round 3 games, and once we get done with these 4 round 3 games, all that's left is the top 8. So we're getting to the end of it here. If you've been following along this long, we are on the home stretch, as it were. So, Mega Manectric versus Incineroar is going to be quite similar to how Mega Manectric just played against Salazzle, in the fact of you're looking at GX Pokemon and Mega EX Pokemon kind of just button heads, without either of them really being able to one-shot. But that's a little bit different because Salazzle. The way that Salazzle was going to one-shot is if it took prizes early in different ways, and then used the attack to one-shot Mega Manectric, whereas Incineroar has this GX attack that is able to knock out Mega Manectric in one shot, because it does 200 damage and burns them, so it goes to 220, which is more than enough there. So, that is going to be kind of a problem for Mega Manectric. Mega Manectric is going to have to find other ways to take the knockout on this Incineroar. The one thing about it, I would say, is that the supporting cast in Mega Manectric is a little bit better than the supporting cast in Incineroar. The only option for Incineroar is like Victini and Volcanion, whereas Mega Manectric has all the other Manectrics, as well as Pyroar, and also I believe it has Victini and Volcanion in it as well. I could be wrong on that. I can't remember. So yeah, that's just like kind of how the matchup's going to work. Is we're both going to try to go into these big EX and GX Pokemon, smash them into each other, and after the dust is settled, who can sprint to the end quicker. I think that's just kind of how it works out. So Max Potions can be very valuable. That's the other thing Incineroar has going for it. It has an easier time of being able to heal all the damage off. It does have Max Potion, and then you can just attach for 1 energy. Whereas Mega Manectric has to do kind of a... Since we don't play Mega Turbo in this list, the updated list does have Mega Turbo. But since there's no Mega Turbo in this list, we have to resort to like Shaman and that sort of thing for like Max Potion heal shenanigans. So, I guess just keep that in mind. It's kind of an interesting matchup. Very fun matchup. I would say I'd play this matchup again. But yeah, so we're going to see the Spiritomb start from me here. And Grady went ahead and used Beacon last turn, so we're going to see that from him as well. Probably. Nope, we're just going to probably see another Beacon. Oh no, we are going to see a Lysander install. This Litleo is one of those ones where the pre-evolution kind of matters, because the other Litleos have 60 HP and 1 retreat. This Litleo has 70 HP and 2 retreat. But luckily enough, I had the AZ, so we're going right into that Mega Manectric. We are A-OK here. And Grady's going to start trying to get that that Incineroar online. If he can hit the Broken Time Space and the Torracat here, then he's in really good business. But I think he's probably going to miss that, so he might just go Litten and then evolve into the Torracat from Spiritomb, which might cost him a turn towards the mid-game, but we'll see what Grady decides to think of. I'm holding on to the Assured Grady Evo Soda and Lux Ball there. So if I can get him out of the active, I got both my support Pokemon. Oh, there's a straight Sycamore. We're not trying to get him out of the active. That's fine. So it looks like I'm actually just going to take the really aggressive route here, considering that he can't one-shot me in any way, shape, or form. Right now, at least, he's got to get into the GX. So I think I'm taking the aggressive approach here, considering that he has to burn a turn, pun intended, to get into that GX. I think he has it in his hand. You can see it. Grady, go ahead and use his sharing to copy. Looks like Rosie's research. But yeah, since Grady does have to spend that turn getting into the Incineroar, I like the aggressive approach here. If Grady already had the Incineroar out, I think it would have been probably a different move, or at least maybe wait a turn or two before going aggressive. Who knows? Kind of hard. So we'll see here. Give me attachment. So Grady's going to just put on the pressure as well with probably 100 damage. Getting his own Lit Leo out for his own Pyroar. We both kind of have that same sort of fire engine. So, fire engine. We both still kind of have that same sort of support base. We both have Blacksmith. We both got the Pyroar. Like I said, I think we both have the Victini and the Volcanion. I said I could be wrong on that. So it is going to come down how the support Pokemon are used on either side. So a super energy removal, that's big actually, and then the evolution. So since this deck doesn't play Mega Turbo, it is going to be kind of difficult to attack this turn. Probably going to need some shenanigans in order to get the attack back out. I don't know how that looks. It could just be an attach and then retreat, into the Spiritomb and say, look, we're going to reset. I'll take that free prize here and move on with my life. I think that's a pretty standard move there. Like, I think that was a perfect move to make. The Pyro being evolved is now, let's try to see if we can take the knockout on that Pyro. The Pyro does have 110 HP. And it is an EX, so he's just got a free EX sitting on his bench. A lot of targets to KO, but this Incineroar is going to need 2 hits to knock out. So, like I said, very interesting situation since that Incineroar can hit us. A Hard Charm on the Mega Manectric was probably going to be required. Sparkling Robe doesn't even help because Grady could then just Muscle Band. I mean, the Hard Charm really doesn't save the Manectric too hard anyways. But, jeez, reusing words over and over. But it doesn't really save it that much because the Incineroar can just either use like Windstorm or Muscle Band, that sort of thing, to knock it out with its GX attack. So, Grady just goes into the he doesn't even beacon there. It doesn't feel like he needs to beacon. So no energy on the Incineroar is kind of saying to me, hey, look, I'm okay with this knockout as long as you don't have like Blacksmith or something. Like, this is fine. So it will be a Mega Turbo onto the not Mega Turbo, Turbo Bolt onto the Lit Leo down there. I can find a way to evolve it and start dealing some serious damage. That computer search is scary because that computer search is probably going to signal a Blacksmith. He had to double check his discard there, meaning probably he's already got the energies in the discard pile. Yep. There is the Blacksmith. So the GX attack will be coming down to knock out the Manectric, and I have pretty much nothing on the side of the field. So this is not optimal, considering that I don't have Revenge KO. It's really hard to say what I'm going into. Grady's got a lot of options there. You notice I have the Rayquaza in the hand. Probably going to need to bench that and start charging it up at the very least. I don't know how it's going to really come into play there. You can see me holding the GX marker saying, like, look, you're probably going to take this knockout here and put me in a poor position. So, yeah, I think that's just how this matchup works, right? So now I need if I can get the Mega Manectric back out, we're not in the worst position, but the Incineroar is it's so hard to knock out. 250 HP is just mammoth, right? If it wasn't for playing against Kingdra, this deck would probably just smash everything, right? It's a good deck. Just the Incineroar alone is just the best GX, one of the best like evolution GXs in the game, because it attacks with 1 energy, one-shots a lot of support Pokemon very easily, and it can just be like max potion healed over and over again. So if you can't hit that 250 HP threshold and you don't have any water Pokemon, you're going to have a rough time of dealing with it. So it's really hard to get it off the field in the conventional sense. I think this deck is bananas good, but what do I know? What do I know? There's a electric down on the bench. Electric down on the bench. Keep taking back this attachment. Keep trying to make different decisions here. Still no Porygon 2. It looks like I did draw into an item finder, a junk arm here. And we are considering the Evo Soda. To get that Porygon 2, maybe it's not worth it. So it looks like since I'm doing this this item finder play, looks like I might be going for the agility, and just saying like, screw getting Mega Manectric back out. I'll do other things, and I'll just try to two-shot you. That might be the case here. Looks actually we are turbo assaulting to the Rayquaza. I'm going to threaten that. Interesting move. I think I would have liked to see probably some form of two-hit. I don't know how I evolved there. Did I miss like a Wally or something? Maybe I missed a Wally. Maybe that was just a mistake there. But we're moving on to Greatest turn here. He could try to go his first attack, or his second attack rather, goes 80, I believe, for 2 flips or something. I think he needs to hit like 1 flip out of 2 to knock me out with his second attack. Just kind of a rough situation here. The Incineroar is just really hard to deal with, especially now under Hexlock. I think Grady's just gonna. Nope, it is just a straight knockout. I think it's just 100 damage or something like that. So, not even. Wow, yeah. Oh, I couldn't even. I've tried to flip for speed gain, but I couldn't have speed gained anyways because of the hex. So, I think Grady told me that, like, dude, you're an idiot. So, looks like it's gonna be a Guzma for a stall, and I'm basically saying I'm gonna retreat first and then Guzma. And we're going to Darkness Grace into the Pyroar. So, forgetting here that I'm cool with. The Flare Command is also on Grady's side of the field. So, I mean that ability is just really, really good. I think in any fire-based decks you can play the 1/1 Pyro line and go into some cute stuff here. So. Grady has the escape rope, but he wants to take this Claydol, and he couldn't have played the escape rope with the Pyroar on the field. So, but there's a Junk Arms. He's eyeballing that Floatstone. So this game is starting to go very, very poorly for Mega Manectric now. That GX attack just swinging the game here. Grady hovered the Goop there. Looks like he will play the Goop as well. So back-to-back Goop and Hex turns. Keeps the Rayquaza out of the field, and this might just be a gust of wind to stall and a pass. Yep, that's what it is going to be. Grady still has that energy on the Pyro to get out of the item lock, and I'm holding on to a dead hand. That is just a Dunsparce in that hand of mine. It is desperate times now. It's just all about how Grady can keep this lead. Now, this is just the perfect situation about how to take a lead and keep it. You don't want to throw the game by overextending and then getting Porygon Z'd out of game or something like that. You also just kind of want to set up all of your Pokemon so that if your main attacker goes down, you have a second option. And looks like Greedy's going to have all of that. He's going to Karina for that Fluffy Berry. Said, don't you want to Flare Command first? And don't you want to attach this energy down here somewhere? I don't think that energy got removed from the Pyroar quite yet, so that might be a thing. But we're going to go ahead and Flare Command out of the item lock. It's just really not working. Another great reason for Flare Command is that reason, like, you're going to always get out of the Spiritomb if they go into it mid-game. And I just got like nothing on the field. I think Grady's looking for the way to, yeah, there's the Fire Energy discard. Grady's just looking for a way to maybe Hex me this turn, so I don't accidentally draw into something. But it will be a knockout. And what do we draw here? Trying for speed gain, missing the speed game, and this might just be a pass. Thinking. Do I bench the Dunsparce? And here's a Super Art. So I got nothing in hand now. Absolutely nothing in hand, and that's just going to be a straight pass. This game is all but over now. There's a Computer Search, most likely going for a Versus Seeker. Nope, it's actually going to go for an Energy. Yeah, Computer Search for an Energy. I thought it was going to be a Versus Seeker for the Hex. You might already have something like that. There's a Windstorm just to start playing some cards out of his hand. An energy removal, just add an insult to injury, just taking this lead and using it. I think he might fail the level ball. I don't see what he would really draw. Maybe draw something to finish deck. That could be what he was grabbing here. But at this point it is, yeah, he's just grabbing a Thin. He might actually, yeah, I think he's benching the Litten. It looks like he's taking a Flare Command onto the Rayquaza and a Knockout. I top decked a Porygon 2 and pass. You can see it looks like I am, I forgot about this game. I'm taking cards out of my discard pile and making a card tower. Because I know I'm just drawing dead. I forgot I did that. Oh no! There it goes, it's falling down. I'm in top deck mode. I'm just so dead, and we agreed not to scoop. And Grady plays a trump card. He's like, "You're done stacking cards out of your discard pile, dude. This is the trump card." And I was like, "No." I'm pretty sure Grady didn't do that strategically. I'm pretty sure Grady just did that so I would stop making a card tower. Attachment on the Porygon and a Knockout, and here's the last prize. Retreat, and we're trying for the sudden flash, and we miss it. So Grady tries to shake my hand. So great fun to the end of that game. Incineroar moves on to the top 8, and that's the journey about how Incineroar moved on to the top 8. To kind of recap it, I think it had to beat SP deck. It had to beat whatever its round 1 opponent was. Not Metagross, was it? No, because that was Salazzle that played Metagross. I forgot what his round 1 opponent was, but it had to beat Mega Manectric as well. It dodged Gyarados. We thought we never gave Incineroar a chance to get to the final 8 because we thought it was going to have to play Gyarados round 2, but it didn't. So that's how Incineroar made to the top 8. Yep, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great rest of your day.